Boss, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and the Octagon's return to the Big D for UFC 211 May 13. Well, it is shaping up to be one of the UFC's biggest cards of the year. 2 title fights headline this thing, boss. A rematch between Stipe Miocic and Junior Dos Santos. So Miocic looking to defend the UFC heavyweight title and avenge the loss to JDS. Also, women's flyweight champion, the one-woman wrecking crew, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, defending her belt against Jessica Andrade. But over the past few days, boss, they have added to the depth of this card and some mouth-watering matchups. We are talking about former UFC lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez taking on the streaking Dustin Poirier in what should be a tremendous lightweight matchup. Alvarez losing the title to Conor McGregor in his last outing at UFC 205 in November. But Poirier, he is, it's unbelievable the rebound he did, because his last loss was against Conor McGregor, and he's now 5-1 since he moved up a weight class, with the lone loss of that move being against Michael Johnson, a first-round knockout. So will the real Dustin Poirier please stand up, because he looks amazing until he faces the real top level, right, boss?
And I think it's a mental thing, maybe. I don't know. I think now he looked really good in his last fight. I actually, an Instagram picture that he sent a little video of an what was it, a spider against the wall who was bouncing on music. Well, they added the music later on. It was yesterday on Instagram. No, he's a great fighter. I think if his head is straight, I think this guy can beat anybody. I think he could be a champion even.
Well, what about Poirier coming off the fight of the night victory over Jim Miller at UFC 208 in February? That was a tough outing as well. And again, coming up from featherweight now to lightweight, is he going to be, what about Eddie Alvarez, the first guy to win Bellator and UFC lightweight titles? Got dusted by Conor McGregor, but he's been in so many incredible fights again with Michael Chandler and others. Eddie Alvarez against Dustin Poirier. We'll break it down when we get there. But what do you think about this matchup? Who do you favor right now?
That's a hard one, but Alvarez is always dangerous. But if Alvarez fights like he did last time, just comes with short hooks, then Poirier is going to pick him apart with straight punches and movement. So he has to watch out for that. Alvarez, his last fight, it was almost like he, it was a mental block or something.
Maybe overthought it.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. You don't want to do against somebody who's so accurate with straight punches. You don't want to start throwing hooks. It's
overanalysis leads to paralysis. But we have more. Hey. But wait, there's more. The lineup for the show in Dallas, a new featherweight fight to talk about. Former lightweight champion, ex-featherweight title challenger Frankie Edgar. He's the latest to try to stop the express known as Yair Rodriguez, who is on 10-1, 6-0 though in the UFC. And we saw Rodriguez, as expected, destroy BJ Penn. Now he takes on the guy that BJ Penn, lost to for the title, the series of fights that he had with Frankie Edgar. BJ Penn, really, those were the fights that launched Frankie Edgar's name into the upper stratosphere, taking out a legend like BJ Penn. But now Yair Rodriguez, dude, he's got all the momentum. Frankie Edgar was picked apart by Jose Aldo again, we're talking Jose Aldo, one of the pound-for-pound best, but it seems like we're talking about guys going maybe in different directions.
I know, the thing is with Frankie Edgar and Yair Rodriguez is can Yair fight? I know he fought 5 rounds against Caceres already, but a guy like Frankie Edgar keeps on pushing. This guy's never been stopped, Frankie, ever. So I don't think Yair will stop him as well. And if Frankie constantly comes forward, uses his incredible stamina, and see if he can get him tired, start neck wrestling, start putting lactic acid in those muscles, constantly resting, put lactic acid in the core, because that will pump the lungs backwards, that push the lungs backwards, you make the fighter get tired faster. And maybe, if Rodriguez never been in that situation, that could be a problem. But right now, he looks like he's unstoppable. But, never go against Frankie. That's
no, and you know what? And I want to clarify. It almost made me, when I said going in different directions, for the storyline, narrative part, because Edgar has won 6 of his past 7. The only loss was against Aldo. But it just seems like Yair Rodriguez is this guy who, has everything going for him right now. Stylistically, again, we'll break it down when we get to there. But he has wins over, not the level of competition, obviously, that Frankie Edgar has faced, but he's made those wins memorable. Remember the flying head kick knockout of Andre Fili at UFC 197, and he has made a lot of money in his last 3 fights because his past 3 wins have been fight night bonus winners. So again, building ahead of steam. We'll get more from Frankie Edgar, Yair Rodriguez, which again joins Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez, the 2 title fights. But wait.
There's more.
There is more.
It does not stop.
A guy you know from World Series of Fighting, a former 2-division WSOF champion, Dave Branch, returns to the UFC where he is 2-2, making his return after more than 6 years away. He'll take on fellow middleweight Krzysztof Jotko, who was 6-1 in the UFC, at the card in Dallas. What do you like about Dave Branch at this stage of his career? What impressed you most during his run in World Series of Fighting where he became a 2-division champion?
A long time ago, because I started with the World Series of Fighting, so I know him for a long time, and he told me that he was always in his shell. He said, I don't let it fly. What I'm going to do from now on, boss, I'm just going to let it fly. So it's this one, let me see, his first 3 fights in the World Series of Fighting, he didn't really let it fly. And at the moment he said it to me, suddenly the next show wins by submission. The next one he wins by knockout. The next one by submission again. And next one is submission again. So he really made himself a complete different fighter by just starting to take a little bit of risk. And look what he did. Now he's got 2-division champion. He's undefeated in his last 11 fights, I think. I can't even count here. It's a whole bunch of fights. Yeah, like 10, I think. So he's doing great, and for him to go back now, I think that was perfect for him to do. I hate to see him go because I always liked him as a fighter, but also as a person. He's a really nice guy. So I wanted to see him at the World Series of Fighting. When I would do commentating there, but unfortunately for me, he's gone now. But I think he's going to do good. Although his opponent is a really tough guy.
Won 5 straight fights since suffering the lone loss of his career, which was a submission against Magnus Siedenblad nearly 3 years ago. But since then, he's picked up decision wins over a variety of opponents, including Talis Latis in November. Last June, he knocked out Tamden McCrory in just 59 seconds to win a Performance of the Night bonus at UFC Fight Night 89. So not an easy return by any stretch for David Branch against Krzysztof Jotko, which is going down at UFC 211. But wait.
There's even more.
Oh, gosh, yes. And this one I'm really looking forward to. Flyweight bout between former title challenger Henry Cejudo against Sergio Pettis, a guy just like Dustin Poirier, streaking right now. Of course, Cejudo, a 2008 Olympic wrestling gold medalist, coming off back-to-back losses, but those losses against the champ, Demetrius Johnson, and then a real close, competitive, entertaining fight against Joseph Benavidez. But the victory, if it comes against Pettis, would definitely put Cejudo right back in the running for another opportunity at a title shot. And, of course, Pettis would love to get one step closer to his first title shot. And, of course, he is the younger brother of former UFC lightweight champ Anthony Pettis. But he is now top 10. He's got a 3-fight winning streak. Most recently defeated John Moraga by unanimous decision in January, UFC Fight Night 103. So, again, boss, you got to give UFC 211 its props. They are loading this thing up in the Lone Star State. What do you like about Cejudo and Pettis?
Well, what can't you like? I always liked Cejudo. I mean, the way he fights, he's an unbelievable fighter. Great wrestler, Olympic wrestling, but great hands. He was a Golden Glove boxer. And then on top of that, he can throw great kicks and great knees. I was blown away when I saw him fight. We had him on Inside MMA a bunch of times. Great guy to work with as well. Sergio Pettis, yeah, he's, like you said, on a roll. But then again, against Henry Cejudo, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough fight for both these guys. I think, stylistically, I would think Henry Cejudo might pull this one off.
All right, well, we will break it down like a boss when we get to UFC 211, which is becoming, as we mentioned, a strong candidate for card of the year if everyone stays healthy and the fights deliver. But it should be an amazing night of MMA action. Although, with all the good we've just talked about, there is potential bad. Ben Rothwell has been flagged for an anti-doping violation for the second time in his UFC career. UFC announced that the U.S. anti-doping agency, USADA, its anti-doping partner, notified the veteran heavyweight of a potential anti-doping violation which stems from an out-of-competition test on February 6th. Rothwell is supposed to face Fabricio Verdum which is another terrific heavyweight fight at UFC
211.
211.
Yep.
But again, now
it says unknown fighter now.
Yeah, see, because Rothwell faces, USADA has already imposed a temporary suspension on him, and as they do all fighters with pending anti-doping cases, Rothwell faces a longer disciplinary suspension depending on the anti-doping violation alleged. Rothwell first ran afoul of the regulators back in 2013. He was suspended for 9 months by the UFC, which overrode his home state's athletic commission when he failed a post-fight drug test following a victory over Brandon Vera at UFC 164. Ben Rothwell told MMA Junkie that he, wait to cast judgment on him until all the facts come out. He says he's under care of a doctor, but we'll wait and see. But as of right now, Ben Rothwell not fighting Fabricio Verdum.